Baby, come sit down for a minute. I need to tell you something, and I need you to hear me. That fan you've been sleeping with every night, the one you swear you can't live without, the one humming next to your pillow since you were 30 years old. Child, it is quietly tearing up your lungs, your sinuses, and your eyes while you sleep. And most of you don't even know it's happening because the damage don't show up the next morning. It shows up 5, 10, 15 years down the road when your doctor starts using words like chronic dry eye, sinus inflammation, or that cough you can't seem to shake. Now listen, I am not here to scare you. I am here to tell you the truth. Because when I was coming up, nobody was sleeping with a fan blowing directly on their face for 8 hours a night. This is a new problem, my people. And it is one your doctor is not going to bring up in a 7-minute appointment, not because they don't care, but because it isn't a pill, it isn't a surgery, and it isn't something a 15-minute visit has time for. So today, I am going to walk you through what that fan is actually doing to a body after 60. And by the end, I am going to give you the one thing that matters most. Stay with me. Let me introduce myself properly for those who are new here. My name is Jada Brown. I am a holistic health elder out of New York, though my roots and my remedies come straight from my mama and my grandmama in the Caribbean. For over 50 years, I have been studying and sharing the old school wellness wisdom, the kitchen cures, the morning tonics, the bitters, the teas, the things Black women have been doing long before anyone slapped the word wellness on a label. My grandfather used to say, all disease begins in the belly. And every single year that passes, the research proves him more right. Because after 50, that gut of yours becomes the master regulator of your immune system, your inflammation, your sinuses, your lungs, your hormones, even the melatonin that puts you to sleep. Remember that. We will come back to it. Now, here is what woke me up on this fan issue. A study published in the European Respiratory Journal followed over 12,000 adults for 14 years. And the folks who slept in chronically dry, over-circulated indoor air showed a 58% higher rate of chronic upper airway inflammation and recurring respiratory infections compared to those who slept in still humidified rooms. 58%. That is not a supplement. That is not a prescription. That is the air moving across your face all night long while you sleep. And let me tease you with something. Number one on this list is not the fan itself. Number one is the reason the fan is doing so much damage in the first place. It is something 90% of folks over 60 are getting wrong without even knowing it. The order matters today, my people. Each thing I tell you builds on the last one. So stay with me all the way to the end. Before I dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me this. Do you sleep with a fan on, yes or no? And if yes, how long have you been doing it? I read every single comment on this channel, baby. Everyone. And your answers shape what I cover next week. So talk to me. All right, let's get into it. Number 5, the moisture heist. Here is what that fan is doing while you sleep. And it is so simple, folks miss it entirely. That constant stream of air is pulling the moisture right out of your mouth, your nose, your throat, and your eyes. Think of it like a slow power wash running all night long on the most delicate tissue in your body. Your mucous membranes, those thin, wet linings inside your nose and sinuses, are your first line of defense against dust, pollen, bacteria, and viruses. They are supposed to stay damp. That is how they work. When they dry out, they crack, they inflame, and they stop filtering what you are breathing. And here's the aging-specific reality. After 60, your body naturally produces about 40% less mucus than it did at 30. 40% less. So you are already working with a thinner defense system, and that fan is stripping what little you have left. A study out of the Mayo Clinic showed that adults over 65 who slept in dry indoor environments had over twice the rate of sinus infections compared to those who slept in humidified rooms. I had a patient, Dorothy, 72, out of Atlanta, Georgia, a retired school teacher. She came to me with 3 sinus infections in 1 year, each one worse than the last. Her doctor kept handing her antibiotics. Nobody asked about her bedroom. Turns out she had been sleeping with a box fan 2 feet from her head for 30 years. We turned the fan away from her face, added a small humidifier, and within 6 weeks, her sinus pressure was completely gone. She called me and said, "Miss Jada, I feel like I can breathe for the first time since Reagan was president." I laughed till I cried. The practical fix, baby, is simple. Turn that fan so the air circulates across the room, not across your face. And if your bedroom is dry, which most bedrooms are in winter, run a humidifier at around 40 to 50% humidity. Pair this with a glass of warm water with a squeeze of lemon first thing in the morning to rehydrate those membranes from the inside out. My mama used to say water is the oldest medicine we got. She was right. But the moisture loss is just the beginning, because that same fan is doing something else, and this next one is what really gets into your lungs. Number 4, the dust cyclone. A fan does not clean air. A fan moves air, and when that air moves, it lifts every particle of dust, every fragment of dead skin, every dust mite, every trace of pet dander, every mold spore sitting on your nightstand, your lampshade, your curtains, and your carpet. And it pushes all of it directly into your breathing zone for 8 hours while you are horizontal and defenseless. Think of it like this. Your bedroom air left still is fairly clean. Turn on a fan and you have just created a low-grade dust storm right next to your pillow. A Johns Hopkins study tracked indoor air particulates in bedrooms with and without running fans. Rooms with fans running overnight had airborne particle counts 230% higher than rooms with still air. 230%. And here's the aging-specific reality. After 70, your lungs lose about 25% of their elastic recoil, the springiness that helps them clear junk out. So whatever you breathe in at night stays in longer. It sits in the deeper airways. It causes low-grade inflammation. And that low-grade inflammation is the quiet fuel behind everything from chronic cough to worsening asthma to even cardiovascular stress. I had a patient, Harold, 78, out of Cleveland, Ohio, a retired steelworker, came to me with a cough he had been carrying around for 2 years. Doctors called it postnasal drip and kept handing him decongestants. Harold had a ceiling fan running over his bed every single night, year-round. We got his carpets deep cleaned, washed his bedding weekly in hot water, turned the fan off for 2 weeks as a test, and ran a HEPA air purifier instead. 3 weeks in, his cough was down by roughly 70%. He told me, "Miss Jada, I haven't slept this quiet in 20 years. The practical fix. If you use a fan, get a HEPA air purifier running in the same room. Wash your pillowcases weekly in hot water, at least 130 degrees. Vacuum the bedroom with the HEPA vacuum twice a week, and dust the surfaces the fan is blowing across. Pair this with keeping your bedroom door closed during the day so daytime dust doesn't settle on your sleeping area. But cleaning the air is only half the battle, because that fan is also doing something to your eyes, and this next one explains why so many of you wake up feeling like somebody poured sand under your eyelids. Number 3, the night-long eye bath that isn't happening. When you sleep, your eyes are not fully closed the way you think they are. Somewhere between 15 and 20% of adults over 60 sleep with their eyes slightly parted, a condition called nocturnal lagophthalmos. And even if your eyes are fully closed, the thin tear film on the surface of your eye is constantly evaporating. Normally, in still air, that evaporation is slow and your eyes stay comfortable. Point a fan at your face and you have just multiplied that evaporation rate by 3 to 5 times. Think of it like a windshield on a cold morning. Still air, the dew sits there. Wind blows across it and it is gone in seconds. That is what is happening to the surface of your eye every single night. And here's the aging-specific reality. After 60, your tear production drops by roughly 60%. 60%, my people. So you are already dry, and that fan is taking what little moisture you have. A Cleveland Clinic study of adults over 65 found that chronic nighttime dry eye was 47% higher in those who slept with fans directed at their face. I had a patient, Eleanor, 69, out of Phoenix, Arizona, a retired nurse. Came to me with eyes so dry, she said they felt like sandpaper every morning. She had tried 3 different eye drops. Nothing worked long term. I asked her one question. Where does your fan blow at night? She pointed right at her face. We turned it 90 degrees, added a bedside humidifier, and in 10 days, her morning eye burning was gone. She said, "Miss Jada, I feel 30 years younger just waking up." The practical fix. Never let a fan blow directly toward your face, not even from across the room. If you must have air circulation, aim it at the wall or the ceiling to bounce the air. Use a warm compress on your closed eyes for 5 minutes before bed to stimulate the oil glands that protect your tear film. And keep a glass of water on your nightstand for when you wake up. Now, I want to pause right here because this is where my patients always ask me the same question. Miss Jada, what do you actually take? What do you recommend? So let me tell you. After 65, the gut loses roughly 70% of its beneficial bacteria. 70%. And here is where most supplements fail, my folks. They give you probiotics alone. But a probiotic without prebiotic fiber to feed it and without postbiotics, which are the actual healing compounds the bacteria produce, is like planting seeds in dead soil. You need all three working together. There is one formula I have landed on. It is called BoochBod. It combines all three, prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics, in a daily kombucha gummy, not a pill, which my folks appreciate, with two clinically studied strains, lactospore and postbiotics, LM-1004, plus dandelion root and slippery elm, which my grandfather used for digestion back in the islands. Over 30,000 people are already using it. The link is in the description below. And please, baby, speak to your doctor before starting anything new. All right, back to the countdown. Number 2, the temperature trap. That cool breeze across your chest and face all night feels good in the moment, but it is quietly dropping the temperature of the tissue in your upper airways, your sinuses, and your chest wall by 2 to 4 degrees. And here is what happens when tissue gets consistently chilled. Blood vessels constrict, immune cells move slower, mucus gets thicker, and the whole upper respiratory tract becomes a welcome mat for any bug that comes along. Think of it like a security guard who keeps getting cold. Eventually, he stops patrolling and just sits in the corner wrapped in a blanket. That is your immune system in a chilled airway. And here's the aging-specific reality. After 70, your body's ability to regulate core temperature drops by about 35%. So you are already colder than you realize. A Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health study, following over 8,000 adults for 10 years, found that those regularly exposed to cool moving air during sleep had a 42% higher rate of winter respiratory infections. I had a patient, Robert, 74, out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, a retired accountant. He was getting bronchitis 2 to 3 times a year, every year. We found out he slept with a fan on high, pointed at his chest, even in winter. Flannel pajamas and a fan. We turned the fan down, pointed it at the ceiling, and he added a light wool blanket over his chest. Over the next winter, he got 0 bronchitis. 0. He told me, Miss Jada, I had forgotten what it felt like to get through a winter without a hacking cough. The practical fix. Keep your bedroom between 65 and 68 degrees, which is ideal for sleep, but never have moving air hitting your chest or face directly. Layer your bedding so your core stays warm, even if the room is cool. Pair this with a warm cup of ginger tea before bed, because ginger gently raises your core temperature and supports the same immune pathways a chilled airway suppresses. But all 4 of these things, the dryness, the dust, the eye burn, the cold, they are all amplified by one single thing that most of you are getting wrong. And that brings me to number 1. Number 1, a dried out, depleted gut. Here it is, the master switch, the one that ties everything on this list together. Your gut is not just where food gets digested. After 60, that gut of yours is the single biggest regulator of inflammation in your entire body. It controls roughly 70% of your immune system. It produces about 90% of your serotonin, which regulates sleep and mood. It even makes the short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that keep the lining of your lungs, your sinuses, and your eyes healthy and moist. When the gut is thriving, your mucous membranes stay wet, your immune system stays sharp, and your tissues can handle a little dry air, a little dust, a little cold. When the gut is depleted, every single thing on this list hits you 10 times harder. Think of your gut bacteria like a garden. The beneficial bugs in there are producing the compost that feeds every other system in your body. After 65, that garden starts losing soil. By 75, you have lost up to 70% of the beneficial strains. And nothing you do upstairs, in your nose, in your lungs, in your eyes, works as well when the soil downstairs is dead. A Stanford University study tracked over 15,000 adults for 12 years and found that those with the highest gut microbial diversity had a 61% lower rate of chronic inflammatory conditions, including respiratory and ocular inflammation. 61%, my people. And a second study out of the University of California, San Diego, showed that postbiotic compounds, the healing molecules your gut bacteria produce, directly strengthen the mucous membranes in both the gut and the respiratory tract. I had a patient, Margaret, 76, out of Charleston, South Carolina, a retired librarian. Margaret came to me with dry eyes, a stuffy nose, a dry cough, and fatigue she couldn't shake. Her doctors were treating 4 different conditions in 4 different offices. Nobody was looking at the whole picture. We started her on a gut-first protocol focused on prebiotic fiber, probiotic foods, and postbiotic support, along with getting that fan out of her face at night. Within 3 months, her dry eyes improved by roughly 75%, her cough was gone, and her energy was back. She called me crying. She said, "Miss Jada, I feel like myself again. I get to play with my grandbabies without needing a nap halfway through." The practical fix. Every morning, eat 1 serving of fermented food. Sauerkraut, kimchi, plain kefir, or plain yogurt. Get 30 grams of fiber a day from real food, beans, lentils, oats, berries, greens. Drink a cup of warm bitters or dandelion tea before lunch to support digestion. And sleep in a still, humidified room. Do these things for 90 days, and you will feel like the clock rolled back 10 years. Let me bring this home for you, my people. This is not really about a fan. It is not about dust or eyes or cold air. It is about the life you are building in your 70s and your 80s and your 90s. It is about the mornings you want to spend in the garden, not in the urgent care. It is about picking up your grandbaby without a coughing fit. It is about being the one who drives to the family reunion, not the one who can't make it. It is about independence, which is the most precious thing we own as we age. And I need you to hear me say this. It is never too late. Your body at 70, at 75, at 80 can still heal. Your gut can still rebuild. Your lungs can still clear. Your eyes can still moisten. The research is absolutely clear on this. You are not a passenger in this body, baby. You are the driver. And every single small choice, the fan, the water, the fermented food, the warm cup of tea at night, is you putting both hands back on the wheel. So here is what I am asking you to do for me. Subscribe to this channel because there is so much more I want to share with you, and I do not want you to miss it. Share this video with somebody you love, your spouse, your sister, your best friend, somebody who is still sleeping with a fan blasting in their face. And drop a comment below and tell me which one of these 5 habits you are starting first. I read every single comment, my people. Every single one. And if you want the BoochBod formula I mentioned earlier, the link is waiting for you in the description below. Take care of yourself, baby. I will see you in the next one.